Hello, I'm Bud McCord. I'm here in Brazil, South America. It's 7:31 a.m. and I hope you're well and ready for a devotional moment with the author Stanley Jones, who was a missionary in India for over 55 years. We are reading through the devotional thoughts of this great man of God, one day at a time, Monday to Friday. And I hope you're experiencing the same kind of support and encouragement that I'm feeling every time I read this, even though I've already read through these devotionals many times. Each day I come back, there's something good that this man has to say, something good to think about, and it keeps me aware of whether I'm on the path or not on a lot of things in my own personal life. So I hope it's been helpful to you as well. The title of today's devotional is, He Makes Me Sick. He makes me sick. You ever said that? Or she makes me sick, or somebody makes me sick. I think all of us have probably thought it if we haven't said it. So here's what he says. Dr. James Dale Van Buskirk tells of a patient, a widowed mother of a grown daughter, who had migraine headaches every time she unsuccessfully attempted to dominate or control her daughter. Dr. William Sadler says this: psychoneurotic pain is not imaginary. It is as real and as distressing to the patient as organic pain, and the accompanying fear and anxiety make it worse. Since emotional maladjustment is the basis of such fear and anxiety as well as the symptom itself, these reactions are more intense than those based on bona fide organic difficulty. We say to people, that man is a headache. He is, because we react in resentment against him. Again, we say, she is a pain in the neck. She is, because the resentments toward her tie up the nerves in the neck, and we get a pain. We say to one another, you'll make yourself sick over this matter. And we do. Our reaction makes us sick literally. When Woodrow Wilson, former American president, said to Lloyd George in a crisis, you make me sick, he probably did. Such expressions as pale with horror, stiff with fear, so angry I couldn't see, my knees quaked with fear, goose flesh rose up all over me, speechless with dismay. All these expressions embody the experience of humanity and register the physical results of our reactions to what happens around us. Add to these physical results the personality results, and we can see how decisive are our reactions, one way or the other. The effect of conflict can be seen in this. A mail driver or a mail delivery person became engaged to a fine young woman. The date was set for the marriage. Just before the ceremony, he became ill. The ceremony was postponed. Another date was set just before the day. He ran his truck into the abutment of a bridge and was killed. The woman to whom he was going to be married called up his family in another city to console with them. She found he had a wife and family. His illness and the accident were purposeful to get him out of inner dilemma. And here's prayer that Stanley Jones attaches to these thoughts. Oh God, we thank you that our actions and our reactions are driving us to you. That's a great thought. Let me read it again. Our God, oh God, we thank you that our actions and our reactions are driving us to you. We cannot get along with ourselves unless we get along with you. Amen. Affirmation for the day. Since my body and my soul will register my reactions, I shall decide what I register. I don't know how these particular devotions have struck you that we're talking about here on this reactivity or this tendency we have to become reactive. But I want to ask you this question. Imagine yourself fearless, filled with love, and reaction-free. fearless, filled with love, and reaction-free. If that were removed from me, if those characteristics, I'm not afraid, I'm filled with good intentions and love toward others, toward God, and reaction-free, then what would that enable me to do? I think it would mean I could love my neighbor as I love myself. I think it would mean that I would eliminate a tremendous amount of unnecessary pain in my life. I remember many, many years ago, after having been influenced by Stanley Jones and by other devotional authors, I was talking with a fellow pastor when I was in the United States, and I raised the question with him. I said, do you think that we can get to the place where we cannot be offended? And he said, I don't know. I never thought about it. He said, I just thought that being offended was just a part of the situation that I live. And I asked him, I said, well, yeah, but when I get offended, it seems like it drains energy away from what I need to be doing. And when I get offended, it doesn't add anything to me. It doesn't add anything to my inner life. And I said, so I've really kind of asked the Lord to give me freedom from this sensitivity that I have of being easily offended. And I'm not suggesting that there weren't reasons for me to be offended. I'm saying I didn't like the fact that I had to expend so much energy mentally and emotionally navigating and dealing with becoming offended. And since those days of that conversation, I have really, really, really asked the Lord to, by His grace, remove my fear, because fear torments. Fill me with love, because that's why I exist. And free me from reactions. Free me from being reactive. So, no fear of loving, no fear of living, no fear of losing. And I have sensed that as I approach each day, doing what He says, oh God, we thank You that our actions and our reactions are driving us to You. Every time I get reactive, I move very quickly back to God. You remember, I think yesterday I talked about, I've developed a habit of when I get reactive, negative, bitter, wanting to exercise my rights and defend my rights and all those things we humans do, I say, Jesus, do You want me to react to this? And in that question, almost becomes something that is so immediate. The answer is always no. I mean, if I take the time to ask, he's never said yes, remain reactive. No, because I don't think Jesus supports reaction. I think he supports action. And action is what is needed, but it's an action that's not based on fear, it's not based on frustration, it's not based on bitterness, it's not based on struggle against another human being. It's just simply saying, I'm not going to react, but I need to act. And maybe that action is to turn the other cheek, to go the extra mile. And maybe that action is to be at peace. Perhaps the action should be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. So I'm not suggesting, and I don't think Stanley Jones is suggesting that we should stop living. I think he's saying that reactivity is not living, it's reacting. And true living is acting appropriately, acting correctly. It reminds me of salt and light. They're not reacting, they're just simply being what they are and doing what they do. And they're not seeking control of anything, but they're absolutely going to be what they are. And you can't make light stop being light. And you can't stop salt from preserving and enhancing flavor. So I have continued to develop on this line of thinking that reactivity is not a strategy for love. It is not a strategy for life. It is not a strategy for health. It is not a strategy for solving anything. And I've noticed that a lot of people who live a reactive life are tired and frustrated and can't retain and relish relationships. There's a lot of negatives to it. So I think it is a part of spiritual growth. And I hope it's a part of spiritual growth that you understand, and I'm still trying to understand it and live correctly in this way, because I don't see Jesus being reactive at all in his life that we see in the Gospels. Think on these things. Be at peace today. Be filled with love. Remember the words of Jesus where he said, little flock, have no fear. It is the will of the Father to give you the kingdom. That's how good we have it, and we will have it, so don't be afraid. God bless you. Have a great day.